Welcome! It's the Glitter Boom Girls podcast. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson on the East Coast.
I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast.
And today we have a global topic. Like, we are going to get into the details and discuss one of the greatest rivalries in the history of Western culture. McDonald's versus Burger King.
So important to the world. When you heard the word global, people, weren't you thinking of maybe something different? Maybe countries? No.
No.
Burger King, McDonald's.
No, this ain't no Risk board game here. We're going to discuss the back in the day, you know, the marketing, the branding, and all that stuff that influenced us as youth, and then talk about why one is better than the other in which way, and all that kind of stuff. Because don't you think, Aim, even if it's just a slight shift one way or another, like just a tiny one click leaning into one or the other, everyone has a preference, right?
I think so. I do think so, yes.
So you know what I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
You're on an interstate and you're driving and you see the sign, you know, that says McDonald's 10 miles, Burger King 15 miles. Which exit do you get off?
I get off for McDonald's.
Ladies and gentlemen, Amy gets off for the Golden Arches. That is the exit she takes. Okay, and you pull up to, what, do you go in or drive through?
Well, you know what? I have to preface this with saying this is the McDonald's of maybe 1980. I don't know what it's like today. I haven't eaten there in 20 years. God bless them. Yay, capitalism. But
that's a good point. Yeah, because I'm talking back in the day as well. So I should have clarified that. So yeah, let's say, you know, you're with your family and maybe you're not in charge of where you go, but where are you advocating? You know, like, no, let's go.
I'm going to pretend I'm 10 and I can drive a car. I'm just going to just throw this up in the air.
You have a chauffeur. You tell him, James.
I am going to Jeeves. Please put aside this Grey Poupon and stop at McDonald's. But is it because McDonald's tastes better to me? No, it's because that was in my proximity as a child and I never really tried Burger King until later, or if there just wasn't anything else and we had to stop there. There was not one in my neighborhood, Burger King. So I think because of proximity, there was a McDonald's near my grandparents' house, and my grandfather would walk me over there. And of course, he'd say, the gentleman is always on the outside. So if a puddle splashes the lady, you know, so anyway, he'd walk you over there. He'd get you a little fries. And I remember eating these wonderful salty fries. So I'm going to say the McDonald's is where I stop to get those wonderful fries that I shared with my grandfather. Okay,
so that brings up the fries. We need to talk about the fries. McDonald's French fries are world-renowned. And according to the in-depth research that I have done, aka Wikipedia and YouTube videos, McDonald's is the largest purchaser of potatoes in the world. So, and their French fries, I mean, it's something like, you know, 40 million fries a year or whatever. I mean, they just sell like unbelievable amounts of French fries. And my understanding is that they're different than when we were a kid. And I believe this because to me, they taste slightly different. Back in the day, they used to fry them in beef tallow, which was like...
Now, what is tallow?
Okay, so here we go.
I guess that it's some kind of a lard, but just tell me.
I'm going to go to another in-depth research institution known as Google. And here is a recipe on how to make retro-style McDonald's fries with beef tallow. Okay, so I'm just gonna read this. Okay. In 1990, McDonald's stopped using the beef tallow. And there were a lot of different reasons. My neighbor is vacuuming downstairs. I don't know if you can hear that, but anyway. So they switched to vegetable oil. And this was the result of a lot of discussion and, you know, trans fatty acids and like all these things that people were talking about. But in this recipe, it says, here, let me get down.
This better tell me what tallow is, or I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there. Okay, so today's McDonald's fries do not contain MSG, but they do contain hydrolyzed vegetable proteins. So you can Google that. Oh, wait a second. Hang on. This doesn't tell us what beef tallow is. I'm sorry. I thought this was going to tell us what beef tallow is.
First, while you find that out, I don't like the word tallow. It just doesn't sound like a food.
Well, you know how gross like cooking is, right? Okay, so here's tallow. Here's the Wikipedia definition of tallow. Tallow is a I can't even talk.
This is going to really upset me because it's going to be disgusting.
Oh God, yeah. Tallow is a rendered form of beef or mutton fat, primarily made up of triglycerides. Oof. It is solid at room temperature. Unlike suet. Now, I know all about suet from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Wait, hold on a second. Suet?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers used to make bird feeders out of suet. So that's the only thing he would like take suet and roll it in bird seed and stuff. And it's like this big clump of some kind of animal byproduct. So unlike suet, tallow can be stored for extended periods without the need for refrigeration to prevent decomposition, provided it is kept in an airtight container to prevent oxidation. Now, we all have to understand fast food, they use chemical food engineering like crazy, right? Every fast food, yeah, because it's, you know, it just is modern food industry, GMOs, like food is pretty much not food anymore.
What you're telling me is that tallow is that little U-Bahn can that your grandmother kept the bacon drippings in and just left it off to the side to cook bacon and eggs in.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, except it was beef, not pork. Mm-hmm. So in industry, tallow is not strictly defined as beef or mutton fat. In this context, tallow is animal fat that conforms to certain technical criteria, including its melting point. So commercial tallow, which I'm sure McDonald's was using, commonly contains fat derived from other animals, such as lard from pigs or even from plant sources. The solid material remaining after rendering is called cracklings, greaves,
Why did I
or
ask
graves.
For this ingredient? Why did I even ask this question? Because now I'm going to regret it.
It has been used mostly for animal foods, such as dog food.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay, and they put it in soap. Like tallowate is used to refer to soaps made from tallow. So you can like make this stuff from tallow. Okay, now let me skip down to use.
I was eating delicious fries made with ingredients from dog food, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much. And the significant use of tallow is for the production of shortening. So yeah, you're right. I mean, in a way, it's like grandma's can.
But we all tried dog food also. Remember Come and Get It? Those little teeny little turkey legs. You know, I did try dog food.
Come and Get It.
On my own.
Yeah.
So anyway, that makes
who
sense.
hasn't?
Okay.
I remember very vividly sampling the Milk-Bone dog biscuits in the garage when I was like 5.
You're like, you know what? They love them so much. I need to try it. So anyway, those fries.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing from the beef tallow Wikipedia. Before switching to pure vegetable oil in 1990, McDonald's cooked its French fries in a mixture of 93% beef tallow and 7% cottonseed oil, which is interesting. Now, according to a 1985 article in the New York Times, tallow was also used for frying at Burger King, Wendy's, Hardee's, Arby's, Dairy Queen, Popeyes, and Bob's Big Boy.
Yum, yum.
Which is very interesting. Okay. Apparently, you can use it also in the production of biodiesel fuel.
All right. I don't need to know this much in depth of tallow.
And even in aviation biofuels. That's
all right,
crazy.
Let's get into astrophysics now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Well, hey, you know, this is serious. Like this whole, fast food wars, Like, it
Okay,
gets down to it.
Okay, so fries is my favorite. It was made with tallow. They are no longer made the same. They do not taste the same.
Correct. I don't think so. However, what I was going to say though is I still think, even with the modifications, that McDonald's fries trump Burger King's fries.
Why do you say that? Is it taste?
Well, I'm going to qualify this first of all by saying if I'm 10 years old and I'm telling Jeeves where to go, he's going right to Burger King.
Really?
I'm all about Burger King.
But listen, is it because you had more exposure to Burger King because there was one close to you?
No. In fact, I grew up in several different places, but McDonald's was that was kind of my parents' go-to because my mom liked the hamburgers with the little onions.
I don't like those onions.
Yeah, I always, if I have to eat a McDonald's hamburger, I will eat it without the onions. But and of course, Mom would be like, "Oh, I'm going to McDonald's." So then, I would have to figure out something to order. Now, once Chicken McNuggets came along, I was good to go because I liked Chicken McNuggets.
Correct.
But the flame broiling at Burger King was where I was at. So I was all about the hamburger with extra ketchup. My go-to order would be large fries, hamburger with extra ketchup, small Coke. That was my life. And then there was a period of time where I was into the bacon double cheeseburger. But, at a certain point in a woman's life, she realizes that her pants don't fit because she needs
the BK broiler. She needs that chicken BK broiler, which, by the way, was 800 something calories, and I had no idea.
Oh my gosh! When you look at the calories in an entire, like like my order, my hamburger, French fries, it's like 2,000 calories. By the time you're done with the fries and all the other stuff, and then
remember the whaler? They were like, you know what, fish. For all the Lent people who were doing Lent, there was the filet of fish, and then Burger King came out with the whaler, which was this big old fish sandwich, and it had like way more calories than the actual burgers.
Yeah. It's shocking. I mean, let's face it. If you are eating at McDonald's or Burger King, you're not doing it right.
It's a throwaway day.
Yeah, you're not doing your diet right. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. However, I have to give us something of a disclaimer. Because even after watching the infamous movie Super Size Me, where Morgan Spurlock, the director, ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days and he got extremely ill, even after watching that, I remember distinctly sitting in a theater in California and going straight from the movies to McDonald's because that's how powerful their marketing is, where I'm seeing the red fry container with the golden arches. I'm watching him unwrap the stuff, and the chicken McNuggets he's dunking in the dips, which I love. And by the way, you have to get 3 dips. You have to get the buffalo sauce, the barbecue dip, and the ranch. And then you go dunk, dunk, dunk. And that's how you eat your McNuggets. But that's how powerful the branding has become. And that's kind of the war that goes on between these two like giants of fast food. But when you look at numbers, McDonald's is the hugest, the biggest. They're the only brand in the top 10 in the world that is a non-tech brand. Like, that's how big McDonald's is. So, that being said, you're right, Amy. When I was little, I had all kinds of ailments, and I was always at the doctor's. And after every doctor appointment, my reward for being compliant while they stabbed me with needles or whatever they did was to go to Burger King. So Burger King was like, and then Burger King got involved with the Star Wars cups and, they would give away those glass tumblers with all the Star Wars stuff on them. So Burger King became equated with Star Wars on top of everything else.
Oh, that's big. That's big.
Yeah. And even though I would be eating the meal and thinking, it would be so great to get a burger at Burger King and the fries at McDonald's. Like, to me, that like, I would think when I was little, wow, if I was rich, I would send somebody out to Burger King to get me the burger and then the fries. Because, man, those McDonald's fries.
And it's interesting because they were thinner than the Burger King fries. The Burger King fries, I feel like, were almost twice as big.
Yeah. They were thicker. They still are thicker. They seem to have a little coating on them now, which I'm not sure.
I'm into ratios, so I liked the McDonald's fries because when of course, I wouldn't just eat one at a time because I needed to, shove it all in my mouth, but I'd get a little bunch of them, and they were just so salty, and it's like a little stack of twigs almost. They're just something about the ratio, the size of them. I don't like too thick of fries.
Yeah.
And another thing about McDonald's and other fast food places was the ice. I'm all about the ice. I need the little crunchy rock ice.
Yeah.
I don't need the disc ice that like you choke on and ruins you have to shake to get it out of your cup the correct way. I didn't like the ice at McDonald's.
Exactly.
And I didn't like the straws. They're too big.
Those disc ice drinks, when you tried to tip it up and get a couple of ice cubes, the whole thing would fall on your face, like all of a sudden, because those discs were all slippery. And the other thing is, when you have like the disc ice, it melts weird, like it melts too fast,
Well,
so
it makes you drink watery.
Yeah, exactly. And things changed a lot when you could get your own drink, because then you were the master of your ice ratio. But early on, like, they would just hand you the drink, and and you'd have to tell them Coke no ice or Coke little ice or whatever, and they'd look at you like, oh, please, this thing is 35 cents. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, but that little pebble ice, I feel like there was an extra ingredient of like some extra nitrogen or some other extra thing that made it like a little wax or something that made it so it didn't melt.
Yeah, could be
as quickly.
Some weird, chemical engineering compound that allowed them to make 10 extra cents. Yeah. And by the way, you guys, if you haven't read Fast Food Nation, the book, I think it's like 20 years old now. Pick it up and read it, because it is an extraordinary look at fast food economics and fast food business models. And that stuff is so fascinating.
Which commercial do you remember the most out of these two?
Oh, okay. Out of McDonald's and Burger King, you mean?
Yes.
Well, that's hard for me to answer because I saw so many ad campaigns. They had so many slogans, but the one that does stand out was the Burger King Bicentennial. It was like this sepia-toned ad with like people running in a field or whatever. 200 million people, no two are quite the same, each doing things their own way, each plays a different game. While most agree on some things, all agree, they say. Everybody loves a burger if they can have it fixed their way.
Wow.
That's why America loves burgers, and we're America's Burger King. Oh yes, America loves burgers, and we're America's Burger King. Well, you can love them big or love them small, with everything or nothing at all. America loves burgers, and we're America's Burger King.
Wow, I just wanted to wave the flag when you sang that.
Right? It was very patriotic.
So that really got you. Is that one you remember that it struck you?
Yeah, it didn't make me want to immediately go to Burger King. But, the ads that made me want to go to Burger King were the ones that showed the food.
Yes.
And like
those fake grill marks, like the liquid smoke flavoring that you didn't realize.
Right, exactly. And the steaming, piping hot fries and the Coke, coming out. Like, it made you
the little bubbles and mist.
Right.
A little bit of mist. I didn't like tomato and lettuce on burgers. As a matter of fact, I ordered something called hour burgers because my father said they took an hour. We had to pull off to the side because I only wanted the bun and the meat at McDonald's. Oh. But on the commercials, when they would drop the tomatoes and they drop that little lettuce and it kind of floated and so poof, and it kind of lands on the burger and it tilts in slow-mo. You're like, wow. Yeah. I wish I liked those things, but I don't.
Food photography, that's
beautiful.
That's a science.
So was And they still do the charbroiled today. Is it really charbroiled? Are those little marks just imprinted on the burger patty, or are they from a grill?
I don't know. I mean, I know Burger King does flame broil their burgers, but I don't know that the material the burgers are made of, because it's not just beef, as far as I know, right? And do we really know what's in them?
Charbroil marks, though, it doesn't matter what it is. There's a mark, black stripes over these burgers. Are they from a grill? I wonder.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mystery because they seem to be a little uniform, and and now they have that new vegan Impossible Burger at Burger King that's made out of plants or something. So, which again, I don't know. Like, if you're a vegan and you're going to Burger King, like, I feel like you might have made a wrong turn, but
you want the nostalgia, you want the feeling, you want the soda, you want the shape of the fries and the salt of the fries. You want the feeling that you used to get when you ate that meal when you were a kid, and now, your blood pressure's bad and your cholesterol's bad, and you still want the meal. So you gave it to your brain, but you consumed plant food. And you know what? You did a huge thing because you picked that option when you got there and you were not weak, and picked the one that was worse for you. So I commend those people.
Yeah, I guess it's all right. I mean, maybe people sort of get stuck. Like if you're on the interstate and you pull off, there's no like vegan place to eat, right?
No.
So it's nice to offer that option. What about you though? Which McDonald's commercial would make you actually want to go to McDonald's?
When I was a child, it was all about Ronald McDonald and the fry guys, these little guys with little kooky, little puffball guys with these long legs with I think they had little striped stockings on and some feet. They were just little pom-pom guys. There was Grimace, who kind of looked like Barney the dinosaur. There was the Hamburglar, and I was slightly afraid of him. Ooh, he stole burgers. There was this whole cartoon. There was McDonald Land, and you'd go to McDonald's, and they would do a giant birthday for you, which they did one for your girl here in 1977.
What?
I had McDonald's, and I had the little hats, and they gave you these they were kind of like soda shop hats. So they were just tissue paper with a little cardboard band, and they looked like a little soda jerk hat. And everybody got one, and they did your birthday. It was kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese before Chuck E. Cheese, and it was just this themed land, and I was all about cartoons, and it was very H.R. Puffin stuff. They could have been serving me rattlesnake juice and boiled, turnips, but I liked the theme. I liked anything that my parents were like, no, we can't go there. I immediately was like, wait, why? So I looked at it with different, not just for food, but just the whole theme is the reason I initially liked McDonald's. But as far as commercials after that, I loved a jingle. So there was that, to all beef patty special sauce, latest cheese, whatever that was.
On a sesame seed bun.
And we were so dumb that we fell for it immediately. And every kid at school would, can you say it without, stuttering like I just did? Can you say the whole thing? And kids would try to say it. And it was just this big thing. And that was the big commercial when I was a kid.
So it was more about the toys and it wasn't like you were dying for the fries or something.
Not really. I'm
kind of puzzled though. Fill in the blanks for me here. So you go to have your birthday at McDonald's.
Correct.
How many kids? What, like 10 friends or?
I had like 8 kids go, and I was 4, so I don't know who the hell these kids were. I'm like, where did my mom pull up these kids? When I look at the picture, I'm like, who are these kids?
And what's the cake? Like, does everybody get the same thing? Is it a buffet? Everybody orders it. Like, how does that work?
Everybody just got a Happy Meal, which is the little cardboard box.
Yeah, okay.
You all get a burger, and your parents just pay for the bulk, 10 Happy Meals and some streamers. And I don't know if the little cookies were in then, but there was this tiny little package of these little thick cookies. They look like Cookie Crisp, but a little bit bigger. And you get a little bag of chocolate chip cookies. I don't know about the cake. We probably bought a cake and brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you were just excited because it was kid themed.
Yeah, and it was your day.
My day.
Yeah.
I got Tinker Toys that year, and it was great.
Oh, nice.
And some Play-Doh. I probably got that Play-Doh barbershop that day, actually.
Yeah, which we cover in another. Which one was that?
A couple of episodes ago, the one that I buried in my backyard, and I don't know what episode. But yes, so McDonald's, it was, colorful. It was themed for me and it was close to me. So I liked it.
I had a not a birthday party, but one of my birthdays, it's like, oh, what do you want? I want Burger King. So I had the crown. That I always dug that about Burger King was that you could get that crown. And in fact, there's a place where I worked where they have some old Burger King crown and like they pass it around for whoever's birthday it is, which is adorable.
That's really cute.
Yeah, it's just a funny thing for adults, but yeah, I don't recall any special birthday. It's just here's your bacon double cheeseburger, kid. And your Coke and your fries. That was about it. But I do find it interesting nowadays when, especially late at night, they do a lot of fast food advertising late at night. If you notice this while you're watching some TV, and they show like the glistening Whopper or the cheeseburger or whatever, and the steaming fries, and like you said, the carbonation like coming off the soda,
that mist.
Yeah, and it just makes your mouth water, and that makes me want to get in my car and drive over to Burger King immediately. Now I don't, because you can't do that anymore as a grown up without consequences, but I will think about that for a couple of days, and usually once every 4 months or so, I will hit a Burger King, and really, I get my old order, which is the hamburger, extra ketchup, large fries, and a Coke. And
doesn't the extra ketchup make the bun soggy? I don't like condiments.
No, not at all. No, Ugh. Not on a Burger King bun.
I never ate ketchup. You guys are gonna think I'm weird, but I just started trying ketchup. I don't like condiments. So.
I love ketchup.
So it didn't make your bun all gummy?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, the ketchup and the mustard and the pickles, Ugh. The way they'd mix together with the hamburger, that was amazing. That was really...
Don't drown food. Don't drown your food. Wasn't there some kind of PSA about not using too many condiments that
don't put ketchup on your cornflakes? Yeah, I don't know. But I loved it, and I also loved the ketchup, even though it was Heinz brand. It tasted different in those little packets.
What was the dessert at Burger King?
Burger King went through a few phases, and they had this apple pie that was like an actual pie-shaped piece of pie. And
wait,
I think
pie-shaped as in a triangle?
Yeah,
or
yeah, like a slice, yeah. And McDonald's had those unbelievable, those hot apple pies.
Those volcanic temperatures inside.
Yeah, exactly. But, oh my God, were those good. Oh.
I did like pie. I was a strange eater, but I would eat the cookies, but any kind of mushy apple, I was not a fan.
Oh, I was all about the pies. Like, and the weird thing about the pies was, like you said, they were like lava, and because it's like sticky and gooey, you would burn the crap out of your mouth. Yes. However, there was never an intermediate temperature. They went from lava to cold. Like there was no, okay, now it's just a warm pie. It was like scalding hot apple pie, leftover cold apple pie. Like there was no in between. And I think Burger King at some point had some kind of weird like empanada thing or something like that. And now they have like cookies, and they've done that whole a packet of cookies and some kind of ice cream or something. Oh, and that's the other thing about McDonald's. They had those little sundaes.
Oh, that's right. Which I never got one, so I don't remember them. But yes.
Yeah, my mom was a big fan of the sundaes. Yeah. In fact, like I said, that's why I always ended up at McDonald's when I was really little, because Mom liked the hamburgers and the sundaes.
A great memory I have of McDonald's, probably, next right after the one with my grandfather and the fries, is I'd go to sleepovers with my sister over to our friend Erin's house, who lived near my grandmother, by the way. It was the same McDonald's. And in the morning, her father would go, or maybe it was like kind of the day after, or for dinner even, and get us, and this was in the mid 80s, McDonald's value packs. And we loved, it was like this square shoebox kind of, and there was a little insert for your drink. The middle was your burger, and Aaron would always get the filet of fish. And I was like, why? And then on the other side was your fries. And he'd come back with these 3 value packs, and I'd get the chicken McNuggets and my little dipping sauce. And if you forgot the sauce, your day was ruined.
Oh, yeah, you can't eat McNuggets without the sauce.
I needed the barbecue sauce, which isn't even all that good now. But if I didn't get it or they were out of it, it was like, oh, man. It was a bummer.
Yeah, that was kind of a big moment when I realized as an adult I could get 10 chicken McNuggets instead of 6.
Big deal.
Yeah, when I was little, I just need 6. Like that's all I would get. But when you're grown up, you're like, I can get 10.
10? I want the 20. Give me the 20 pack for the whole party.
And give me 3 extra dips, Yeah, I'm a big fan of the chicken McNugget, man. And Burger King, in reaction, came out with chicken tenders.
Oh, I think I remember eating those. I think they were quite delicious.
Yeah, they looked like tiny little chicken. What do you call those with the
drumsticks?
No, the chicken fingers. They look like tiny little chicken fingers.
Oh yeah, those were good. But
they had a strange, almost a shake and bake type of a batter coating. Like McDonald's, it was
a breadcrumb.
Yeah, it was fried, man. Like it was
so
like
clearly deep fried.
Yeah, it was like tempura, like chicken tempura McNuggets. But
they were delicious.
Burger King, they did these little tiny chicken fingers, and they were sort of a darker color, like a weird, rust color.
The hue was like all wrong.
Yeah. I have to say, I think Burger King missed on those because
missed the mark.
Yeah, they just didn't do it. And they did have good dips. They had, the barbecue and not the buffalo sauce. That was because that came to McDonald's later. But, they had ranch and, honey mustard, which to me should just be illegal. Like
I don't mind honey mustard.
No,
I don't really, I said, like condiments, but there's certain ones, if it's a little bit sweet and I'm having some kind of a chicken, if I'm stuck somewhere where that's all there is, I'll do a honey mustard.
I will never eat a honey mustard. Let me put it this way. If I had a box of 10 hot chicken McNuggets and the only dip was honey mustard, I would throw it all out. Like, I'm not eating that, and I'm not eating the McNuggets without a dip. It doesn't
That's
work,
how I feel about those little onions on the McDonald's. I would have to, if somebody else's parents were buying me McDonald's, I couldn't ask for the hour burgers where they said, pull off to the side, we'll bring you out 2 burgers. My dad was so irritated by that. But I found out I was allergic to tomato way later in my life, so that's why I didn't like the ketchup. And they were like, God, you're so picky.
Oh, okay.
And I did like the sauce on the pizza, but tomato. Anyway, yeah, when someone got me a burger and it had the ketchup and the little onions on there, and I'd have to peel it off and try to wipe it with my napkin, wipe off all that stuff, and there was like a hole in the bun. Darn it, I don't.
I just didn't have. Maybe I ate it too fast. Maybe I ate it fast enough where. Yeah, that just didn't. And we have to talk. We did bring this up in some other episode, but we have to talk about Burger King's Yumbo.
Yumbo, okay? What the heck is that?
Burger King, back in the early 70s, they had a ham and cheese sandwich.
Oh, yeah, you loved this.
Yeah, thing. And it was this it was like Black Forest ham, American cheese, mayo, and lettuce on a sub roll. And it was the same roll they would put the original chicken sandwich on.
Oh, and so this was like the sesame seed, kind of an oblong roll. You loved this thing.
Yeah, and I was super into the Yumbo. And I still recently found out during one of our podcasts that you can secretly order the Yumbo.
I think I was the one that found that out.
Yeah, you looked that up, and I was like dumbfounded because. And
Did you like the Burger King himself? There was Ronald McDonald, which we failed to mention, and then there was the Burger King. And did he have a name?
Well, there were different Burger Kings. There was Magic King, which Burger King first came out with in response to Ronald McDonald, who, next to Santa Claus, is the most recognized character like
by
in history.
Someone of our age, but I doubt a 10-year-old today could pick him out of a lineup.
Ronald McDonald?
He has not been around. My kid would not know who he was.
Wow.
See, you haven't seen him in ages. Think about it.
This is where I'm like,
because
so
clowns
shocked and weirded out.
Clowns fell out of favor after like John Wayne Gacy, like, you know, the marketing team, Hal and Gordon were at the table and they were like, we got to get something else. Clowns are starting to make a turn. They were like the symbol of fun, and now they're the symbol of terror because of all these movies, and they had to switch it up. And they stopped with Ronald McDonald at some point.
Yeah, but I sort of have memories though of like recent memories. Am I imagining that? Did they literally kill off Ronald McDonald?
But I just have not seen him in a while. I know there's McDonald Land, cancer charities. I know that he might be a symbol of something somewhere, but I do not see his face for the kids right now.
Wow. Okay, so I'm looking up Ronald McDonald because I gotta know.
But think about it. If you're on the marketing team and you're Gordon and you're at the desk and the bigwig is like, why are sales dropping? And you're like, hey, clowns are no longer like this happy thing. Kids cry when they see a clown now. It's not the same. It just fell out of favor, I feel. And what did you find?
Well, there is first of all, this is interesting. So Ronald McDonald originally was portrayed by Willard Scott, who at one time was the weather guy on Good Morning America or
one of the newscasts.
Yeah, one of those morning shows. And he did it from 63 to 65. And then after that, there was 8 people have portrayed Ronald McDonald.
The same.
And the latest one, which it says 2014 to present, which so he's still somewhere, is a guy named Brad Lennon.
Brad, so 80s.
Yeah, so shout out Brad Lennon, the current Ronald McDonald, and they only use one actor at a time to play the character in the national television commercials. So Brad Lennon is it right now. But that's a really good point, Amy, because, you know, how many ads have I seen with actually Ronald McDonald from McDonald's?
Well, public perception shifts because of other things that occur in pop culture.
Yeah.
And you should be keeping an eye on that if you're on a marketing team of a major brand. Hey, boss, clowns are now creepy. You know, so maybe they keep him for certain things or maybe for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
And actually, I was more into those little fry guys, and they even added a girl, like a little bird with a little aviator cap on at some point. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, according to this Ronald McDonald Wikipedia page, it says that by 2003, the McDonald Land characters, which would be Mayor McCheese, the Hamburglar.
Oh, I loved him.
Grimace, Birdie the Early Bird, and the Fry Kids.
That's her, yes.
Yeah. So they discontinued. They dropped them. And so Ronald McDonald himself continued on, but, he probably just does a wave and a nod or something, like when
he kisses a few babies. Listen, I have a question because I can't see these images right now. I just remember Mayor McCheese. I like the shape of him, and I think he was wearing little tiny boots. Will you tell me if Mayor McCheese is wearing tiny boots?
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna check that out.
They did not go with his outfit. I remember thinking he's wearing boots with that ensemble. Don't know about that outfit.
Yeah, and while I'm looking this up, I have to point out too that when I was a kid, McDonald's and Burger King both ran these congruent campaigns where one was for adults, like McDonald's. It was like, you deserve a break today, and it's all about the working person and you're busy and you got to go and you get your quick lunch. And then they would have this whole McDonald Land, cartoon Mayor McCheese kind of stuff. And
So Sid and Marty Krofft, the whole land.
Right. So I'm looking up. He appears to be wearing spats, Mayor McCheese.
What the heck are spats?
They're like the old-timey little button boots with the white, like buttoned kind
That's
of
what
a
I thought was a boot.
dressing over it. Yeah.
So he was supposed to be fancy.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, he's the mayor. He's wearing a top hat.
His outfit?
He has a top hat. He has red tuxedo tailcoat, and he has a sash that has a hamburger and mayor on it, and his whole head is a hamburger.
That's what I liked. I liked that his head was a burger because when you went to McDonald Land, by the way, the stools were little burgers that you sat on.
That's right.
Mayor McCheese was this thing that you climbed inside, and his big old head, you'd climb inside of his head, and you could not be too big or you'd get stuck in there. But you could kind of move around the inside of his head, and there was some kind of a ladder in his body.
That,
by the way,
I feel like I've seen that. I don't think I ever once played on a McDonald Land playground.
I did for that birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is what he looks like? Oh, I remember him wearing blue. Oh, he looks just like... So his top hat is kind of off to the side. Wow, he's fancy.
Yeah, and
he's wearing striped trousers, you guys.
His mouth... Well, his outfit changed a little bit.
Yes.
Over the years, right? Like most things. So he evolved. He had a little vest and striped pants and a purple shirt or a purple hat at one time. And like that was the heyday of the early bird and the little Fry Kids and stuff. But
they'd give you these little plastic puppets also. You'd stick your hand in and they'd be like,
yeah. I had a million, every fast food toy there was. Like I think I had them laying around. I even remember once getting a stuffed Burger King, like a Burger King doll. It was like this.
But what? So I can't remember a icon for Burger King. I don't even remember that Burger King. Really,
it started out as a little fat guy.
Little fat guy.
Yeah, like this little squat fat guy.
Now he was the guy. He was animated and he was kind of like Schoolhouse Rock looking.
Yeah,
is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like super early.
I just saw that on Google. Right?
Yeah, in their ads, and then he morphed into Magic King, which was kind of a caricature looking, like a wooden face kind of guy, and he was always doing these magical things with the fast food, and then it morphed into like Hot Burger King, like this kind of hot guy, like a real guy who had he was a redhead and he had a beard.
He looked like Barry Gibb, kind of.
Yeah. He was like the Barry Gibb Burger King guy. And, he was fit and he looked tall.
How could you tell he was fit?
Well, because he had like this striped red and yellow figure-hugging outfit and a cape.
Figure-hugging? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he was like a hot burger. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. Like, we could probably look up and find out who he is. But he ushered in the, the kind of the 80s, I think. He was sort of... Because, people were moving on from all the cartoony stuff in the...
Well, I just remember Grimace was like very non-threatening, that big old purple lump.
Right, and nobody knows what he is.
He was kind of like goofy. You know how there's like a Donald Duck, a mad guy, and then there's like a jovial guy, and then there's like a kind of a dumb guy?
Right.
That was Grimace. But why the heck was his name Grimace? Because Grimace, now I realize, means kind of somebody making a face like, ooh, that tastes terrible. Why would they call him Grimace?
Nobody, but that's like the big joke, is like nobody knew what he was. I mean, Mayor McCheese was a hamburger.
Correct. And they also had Big Mac, who was wearing all blue, and he was a cop. He had like a sheriff's badge, by the way. Carry on.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I was thinking of, in the blue outfit.
I forgot about him.
And he was wearing like Doc Martens. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, and Hamburglar was like a guy. Birdie was a bird. And the Fry Kids, they look like kind of like
little pom-poms.
Yeah, like they didn't have a discernible species either.
They were like the sidekick on every cartoon, how there was just a little blob going, that was them.
Yeah, it's like the gallery, like the like those guys. And I'm trying to find some commentary on Grimace that might identify.
The reason Grimace was non-threatening was because his eyebrows were up, like that little innocent, like I looked at the eyebrows when I was a kid. If the character had kind of down pointed eyebrows, I thought, oh, they're the bad guy. And if the eyebrows were up and their eyes were open wide, like Grimace, I'd be, okay, he's the nice guy. He's not going to steal my fries. or my burgers like the Hamburglar, who was wearing like a jailed outfit, like an old-fashioned black and white striped outfit with a mask.
Right.
With a Lone Ranger mask over his eyes and
right. He was
big
clearly
old
a
sun
criminal.
hat.
Yeah.
And he had this tie on that like just didn't go with his outfit, and it was all askew. And he wore this big old like cape with pockets. Like, I'm going to steal your burger. I was kind of afraid of him, really.
Okay, so
Steal my burger.
I just Googled what was Grimace.
Okay, what was he?
Okay. And apparently we're not the only ones asking this question.
Okay.
There are all of these like websites and people who are trying to figure out what the hell Grimace is. Okay, so here is someone's SlideShare presentation, the history of Grimace.
Appreciate that person. Okay.
Right?
Right, what the heck was he?
Right. So they have illustrations of Grimace throughout the years. He didn't really change much, sort of that triangular shape. And yes, he had very expressive eyebrows.
He was happy. He was a happy guy.
Oh, interesting. Now, they discuss Grimace as being a large purple anthropomorphic being of indeterminate species with short arms and legs. He is known for his slow-witted demeanor.
He had no shoes on.
His most common...
He was naked, by the way. He was butt naked. That's not sanitary.
He was shoeless, and his most common expression is the word duh before every... Okay, now this is confusing to me because really, like, why would you have a character like this,
because
selling your French fries?
Type, because there's a character for every type. For the kid that likes a good old-fashioned villain, they're going to be like, look at that hamburger. He has a mask on. By the way, he had gloves on. He had every accessory known to man, including a tie, which he didn't need. And then they got Grimace with literally no clothes on. And that means he wasn't human to me.
Yeah.
Well, it was Mayor McCheese, but I mean, he did have like a human
you're
body.
Right. Most of the discussions are like no one has had any determination or done a study that revealed the species that Grimace was or was supposed to be or whatever. Yeah, he's just this purple blob, And
maybe it was just irony that his name meant something negative, but yet he was positive and innocent. He was the Goofy of McDonaldland.
To me, though, even though he's like this benign character, it's just sort of odd to have like... I mean, maybe he was just supposed to be comedic relief, I guess. But the Hamburglar was also kind of a, like. Well,
the Hamburglar was like the old timey movies that are speeded up, and there's ragtime piano playing, and he's like, and he's running around in fast motion, stealing things, and that makes it less threatening. Yeah, it's less threatening because it's funny when they put them in fast motion.
Yeah, and he was bumbling. I mean, he was a bumbling criminal.
He was a horrible criminal.
Right. Right.
And depending on your personality, you're going to pick one of those characters. And then I feel like that the female character came out a little later when they were like, hey, we need a character for girls.
Oh, the bird?
I don't remember that bird at my 4th birthday party, but we'll have to look that up. But anyway, yes, so McDonald's for me was an experience. It was not just the taste, because I'm more about texture in food. I'm not all about taste. But I do, obviously, those fries. And the McNuggets. And I just never really ate a lot of Burger King, like I said, because of proximity. But you're saying that burger with the extra ketchup was just delicious and you just loved it.
Oh, yeah. I still do. To this day. I still do.
To this day. All right.
Yeah. And I do love McDonald's fries still, even though they no longer have beef tallow. But if I have to, like... if there isn't a Burger King on the way to where I'm going or whatever, and I have to eat at McDonald's, I will get the hamburger with no onions and extra ketchup and a large fry and a small Coke. Like I'll kind of...
Now, why the small Coke? So you just did not drink a lot of... Why a small Coke? Just because it just carried over from when you were a child or what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember... I mean, a small Coke is kind of a large, it's large enough. Like the sizes are so crazy now with drinks. Like who... Like
a big gulp. It's like 32 ounces, 64 ounces, 85,
No one needs 32 ounces of soda. Like, just no one needs that.
I need a few sips now as an adult so I don't get a stomach ache from whatever I'm consuming. Any kind of fast food, if I have to eat it, I'm going to need that Coke to settle my stomach. So I use it as a digestive issue, like they did back in the day where they're like, this will cure your ailments.
Yeah.
But I don't need a very large soda. I did not like, at McDonald's, they would give you too large of a straw. And I don't mean too tall of a straw. I mean the width of the straw allowed too much liquid to go in my mouth. So in my head, my brain's like, this is how much effort you need to suck up some drink. But then I would do that with a McDonald's straw and so much more liquid would fill my mouth because the straw was too wide. And I think it was because of the shakes. They were like, you know what? We need kind of a wider straw. Let's just use it for the sodas and the shakes.
Yeah, that could be. And that's a good observation because the Burger King straws, which were just regular, straw, paper covered straws, you could chew those and flatten them out in the mouthpiece and stuff. But a McDonald's straw, you couldn't do that. They were too hard and
Did you ever stick your finger in, the top of the drink, the lid, and they have a crisscross cut in it for the straw that you stick the straw in the crisscross? Did you ever stick your finger in the crisscross and try to pull it back out and have it catch your finger and hurt you?
Yes, of course I did.
It hurt.
Of course I did.
Why did we do that? Why did we stick our finger in there and then you could not pull it back out?
The same reason we would put, stick pins under your skin, on your fingertips, and wave them around. Like, I don't know, because we're dumb.
I mean, I stuck my finger in that thing and I'm like, why did I do that? I can't get it out. It hurts. And then also those little bubbles on the lid where they're like iced tea and they like press the little bubble. There's like 3 bubbles, iced tea, diet, and Coke or whatever. And then they would press the one down and you'd be like, which one's mine? Oh, this one says iced tea. That's yours.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out too, because they'd hand them, when I was a little kid, they'd hand them and, mom got a diet and dad got this and whatever. And I would just be, I didn't understand like these little push down things. And then, what's great about those wax cups is if you leave them too long, they leak. And how many times did you leave a fast food soda in the cup holder in your car? And, I'll take care of it. I'll deal with it later.
There's like a big pool in there with
exactly.
your bobby pins and your pennies. And like a pool
and it's all sticky and everything. Yeah, I learned those lessons.
And it happens to me often.
Right. So we're almost out of time, but I got to say, in the game of Burger King versus McDonald's, McDonald's versus Burger King. If we set aside the sheer size as criteria, right? Because McDonald's is just a behemoth. So if you look at the size, they've clearly they're the victor or the more dominant one. But if we set aside that,
set aside market share.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think is a better franchise? And not necessarily the one you would go to, etc., but who do you think runs a better shop?
My answer is inconclusive because I have not done enough research on Burger King. So I'm going to turn the question back to you. What do you think?
Well, I can't really... I'm also a bit inconclusive, to be honest, because I think that each one does some things better. Like, I think that McDonald's, being such a pioneer in the fast food type of business where you have an assembly line that's really jamming this stuff out so people are served in like 2 minutes, and getting having machines automate everything. And I mean, in the future, not so distant, we won't even be talking to someone. We'll just be going boop, 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 boop to do our orders, So,
we already do. I just click on the app. Click, 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 click.
There you go. But like eventually when you walk up to a drive-through, like you'll do it off your phone. I mean, you won't even have somebody going, "Welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you?" So
that'll be a sad day.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at it in a lot of different ways. Like if you're looking at it in terms of successful automation, I think McDonald's is probably ahead But if you look at it in terms of, the fact that Burger King has flame broiled burgers
and bigger fries,
and bigger fries. Everything at Burger King seems to be bigger. Like the Whopper's bigger than the Big Mac.
Big Mac. Does the Whopper have a middle piece of bread?
I don't know. I think so.
I don't think so. I don't think it does.
Look, because I bet
you it's copyrighted or something. Or
I've honestly never
trademarked.
eaten a Whopper. I've never eaten a Whopper or a Big Mac in my life.
Me neither. Oh, I think I've tried Big Macs when I was like 20. I like the name Whopper. That's kind of a neat one. I like the names of these things.
We're going to examine the Whopper. The Whopper does not have a third bun.
Okay.
The Whopper does not have a third bun. And of course,
so you like ratios with more. So the Whopper probably has a larger patty.
Yeah, there's more beef.
Some of the advertisements used to be like, hey, McDonald's is 20% less meat on their burger.
Right.
Shady.
Yeah, and
so one of them you're going to want more bread, and the Whopper is like, hey, there's less bread and a bigger, wider burger. I think that's what it is.
Okay, so our final question, which has to do with the look and feel of each franchise. Driving by Burger King, remember it used to be orange and brown and yellow?
Yes.
With a little bit of like tomato, like a reddish, and you'd have the big orange or the big, hamburger in the sky type thing.
Yes.
But they've since replaced that with the circular blue and orange Burger King with the little swoosh logo. And then McDonald's kind of look relatively the same. I mean, they're never going to give up those golden arches and all that. But the McDonald's have moved away from that little hut kind of a look, like the modern McDonald's that are being built. They're like these brown,
so
more
sad.
modern looking structures. Now, I prefer the old school one because it reminds me of childhood and it sort of sets them apart. But tell me, Aim, what's your opinion on the evolution of the look and feel of the actual franchise?
I really like the Burger King logo that used to be. The words were inside the bun.
Yeah.
So burger was kind of small font. King, because it was less letters, was larger font to match the parameters of the word burger. And both of those words were inside of a bun. So there was a flat bun at the bottom and a curved bun at the top. And the logo was inside a bun. And that was my favorite logo.
Yeah, I agree.
Now it's kind of the same, but there's a rounded bottom and a rounded top and kind of a circle, like you said, a swoosh. I don't like very slick logos like that. I like the more rounded puffball 70s logo.
Yeah. I have to agree. I definitely have to agree. But we are out of time. So thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson over on the East Coast.
And I'm Amy Asberger on the West Coast. I had a great time.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.